Hi, and welcome to Art 105 Intro to Drawing. I'm going to give you this video as a quick walkthrough of the syllabi, and that way if there's any questions, maybe I'll be able to answer them verbally this way. If not, you can always email me, or we can set up a Microsoft Teams online chat. But this syllabi is basically what you're going to see. If you happen to attend class, I'll be giving you this in hand as well. It's pretty routine. There's nothing, I guess, too new about it. But I'm just going to go through and highlight. I'm not going to read all of it. I'm going to go through and just talk about really what I expect of you to have in class or for this project, and from there, you can do the rest of the reading on your own because it is quite lengthy with a lot of new of the COVID standards. So jump right in. You'll always see where you have your time, the attendance, where it's going to go on. The one thing you will need is the drawing on the right side of the brain book. I do some assignments out of this, as well as you'll see within the lectures and notes that pulls from there. It's a very cheap book. Get it off Amazon, used in any edition. It's a very old book as well. I think it was first printed in the early 70s, and so just find a copy of it anywhere, as cheap as possible. I really enjoy this book for how it lays out drawing in a very systematic way. It's definitely a very beginner book. So if you feel like I don't really need this, then maybe just check it out from the library when you need it, because they have a couple copies on hand. I also usually have copies in the room, or that if you need to borrow, just get a hold of me. The materials that you're going to need are pretty pared down. For pencils, I don't like mechanical pencils for when we draw, because they don't allow you to have as an expressive line as possible. And you can buy a full set if you want. Like if you're really wanting to try out drawing in multiple ways, go ahead and get a full set. But you really only need these two pencils. An H, when you see an H after a number, it means hard, where if you have a B after a number, it means soft. So as the numbers get higher and higher, they get harder or softer. And harder just means lighter lines, B means darker lines. So that's one way of helping control. And an HB pencil is just right in the middle, right? It's sort of a medium. You will need markers. You'll need two types. Now, I say Sharpies here, a 5-point permanent marker, regular Sharpie. I know Sharpie sells the tandem where you can get a thin end on one end and regulars on the other. If you want to do micron pens, maybe you already have a pen set. But felt tip pens are what you're looking for. And the reason being is a ballpoint pen will scar the surface of the paper, and sometimes even tear it, or it's pushing down the surface, where a felt tip pen gives you a nice clean line when it's added. So you'll need at least the fine point and the regular, but if you want a whole set, once again, you can get a set of microns. There's like 5 or 10 of different weights. You can do that, but that's up to you. I'm only requiring 2. You will need both erasers here, a kneaded eraser and a polymer eraser. A polymer eraser is your standard. Usually they're like really white. They come in a little block, and you can. You've used these probably since kindergarten in some capacity. You need something like that, and then you need what's also known as a kneaded eraser, which is a gummy, very, very gummy eraser. It's gray. It's like a flat square, but it can be stretched around. I call it like your Stretch Armstrong eraser. So you'll need that. A sketchbook, 8 and 11 or 9 by 12. Those are the two sizes. I don't want anything smaller or larger than those dimensions, because one, you got to turn it in, and I need the space. And two, anything smaller than that, sometimes your drawings then get confined. That's a really easy standard size. You'll need it for the entire semester. An 18 by 24 drawing pad, this is what you're going to do your projects on. I don't care if you share with somebody, or if you want to buy the sheets individually from like an art supply store, you can do that. It's totally up to you, but it has to at least be an 18 by 24 size. And then a drawing board. I'm requiring this for in class, since we'll be using drawing horses and such. But if you're at home and you're just using a table, as long as that table is nice and smooth and you're not going to get a bunch of marks from it, then use that. That's fine. I prefer drawing boards because you can transfer your drawings, you can transport them around, you can easily store them. It keeps them in nice condition in and out of your car, things like that. So um, I will say that when it comes to turning in projects, do not roll them up. That's just horrible. So and then charcoal, what you're going to need is compressed charcoal. You can buy it black and white, sometimes together or just individually. You really only need the black. White. Some people like the white chalk as well, but I don't really teach a whole lot with that white. So that's a personal preference. And if you're in the classroom, I have vine charcoal. If I don't see you at all, then you will also need to buy what is called vine charcoal. Okay, and there's compressed vine. Vine is going to be like a little tube that's going to be right there in the drawing supplies. You can ask for it, but it's called vine charcoal because it's made from willow and or grapevines. So anyway, you can buy these materials here anywhere. They're pretty common, basic. If you do go to Queen City Framing, which is over by Vans Supermarket near Carroll College, they will give you an extra discount, and they also know exactly what you need. So if there's any questions or confusions, those gals over there, I work pretty close with them. The bookstore, though, has some of this stuff. Of course, Hobby Lobby, Walmart, wherever you want to get it. You can order it online if you want. There's my information, how to get a hold of me. The best way is just by email, and then we can set up time. Office hours now are being done sort of remotely, so everything's pretty much via Microsoft Teams. So if you don't know how to use Microsoft Teams yet, please download it and kind of navigate that a little bit. Sometimes I communicate with you guys through that. Mostly it's going to be through Moodle though. But if you have any questions about Microsoft Teams, please let me know. You can read through the course content. I do teach this class to be an introductory level as if you've never picked up a pencil. It's Art 105. So for some of you, you may be already advanced, you've taken classes, maybe have experience in the arts. But for some of you, you're trying to fill a humanities credit, and I respect that. Thank you for being here. And don't worry, because I'm a very hands-on teacher when it comes to how to go about these steps and procedures. This class is very popular because of how it sort of walks you through it, and it's very technique based. This is not an independent study drawing class. So in about the middle section, you'll find your course schedule. I will say that schedules could change. They could change because maybe something happens at school and they need to shut down. So it may be going from something of being in the classroom to being completely online. I created this semester to try and keep every due date pretty much the same, but just to let you know, things could change. And if that happens, I will send an amendum to the syllabi, giving you a whole new course calendar and due dates and things like that. But this is what you're looking at primarily for the year, and it usually doesn't change. And what you can see is how to go and progress through all these weeks. We really have 15 weeks, 14 and a half, 15 weeks in a semester. And what you're going to do is in that first week, you're going to see just kind of what's going on, right? We have the syllabus that we're going through. I want you to read the introduction of the book. The drawing exercises, which are going to be in a PowerPoint presentation in class, and then the assignments, right? I'm going to go in further about assignments, but assignments are going to be in your sketchbook. I need them to be in your sketchbook, and they are just what they say they are, right? This first one is just write 3 goals for yourself, right? And so on that page in your sketchbook or in a place, you don't have to use the entire page. You need to write assignment number 1, and then do that. Right. If I don't see assignment written on it, like as a label, then I don't count it. Okay. So please do that, because I do a lot of sketchbooks and I need to know what is for what and what is just free drawing or whatever. So anyway, and as you go through these, like in this first week, all these are on pages 46 through 60. So if they don't make sense, look at the pages that are corresponding there. Then you can see we're getting into our project, which will be a lecture, and demo, and then you'll be given time in class to do this or if you're not in class, you're just doing it on your own. But each week there's usually something. Now I've created these to focus on elements or certain drawing types that you should be practicing normally. So this is it's just kind of giving you ideas so you don't have to sit there and try to make up a bunch of ideas that focus on, let's say, contour line. I'm just giving you those, and they're meant to be very basic. It's usually quantity over quality because this is an intro class, and I'm not going to hold you to like a master standard. But I expect you to challenge yourself. You're taking this class for a reason. There's no need to waste your money. So really push yourself, because I'm giving you the freedom to not worry so much about your grade and just get that done, but really onto your own standards, because throughout life you're going to have to work to your own standards. So it's good to practice that. So anyway, here's that course calendar. You'll see the due date. So project one's here, but then we see where it's due. Always check your project sheets, and we'll talk about those in a second for due dates. So nothing should be surprising. So there's the weeks, critical days to look for. Most of them don't affect our drawing class, which happens to be on Tuesday, Thursdays. But if we're all online, you may just take a look at that to make sure you're not coming to school or something. How I do grading is that I expect you to earn your grades. Art is too many times thinking of like as an easy A course. I don't believe art is easy. I believe it takes a lot of time and concentration, and I will know when looking at projects who's done that, right? Who's really put in the effort. So you're going to earn your grade, okay? I always hated taking courses where I was just free to roam and explore, because you're here for guidance, right? You are here to gain some instruction, and so I really expect you to push yourself and to walk out of here knowing how to do what it is that we would spend the semester doing. Okay, so work time, really take advantage of that. If there is work time in the week, as you've noticed in the calendar, don't just say, oh, I have work time, I don't have anything to do. No, these drawings take a lot of time and focus. If you needed an hour thing, I would spend at least 3 hours minimum a week on a drawing. Minimum. Bare minimum, if you want to probably get something that's going to average around a C. Okay. Then putting in more time. It's not that somebody just does a good drawing. It always comes down to time. Okay. Now the projects I'm going to give you, there's going to be 4 projects, and they're 50 points each, and except for the final, which is more. But the projects themselves are going to be pretty spelled out, and that's what you're going to use your 18 by 24 pad for. Okay, so when I talk about projects, those are the big things. Critiques, if you are in class, we will do these as a group, and we will be talking about the work and its successes and what maybe it could be improved upon. Critiques are meant to help ourselves out. We are there to show our work. We are there to put on display what we've worked so hard to do, and that's the second part of art. Nobody creates art to just stick it in a closet and never be seen. Okay, so we are going through that process. The critique process also allows us to practice our terminology, our vocabulary, and things like that. So sketchbook project. So you will put 1 entry in for every day in class, and really I'd make you do 30. I want to see 30 sketches, and I want to see 20 assignments, and that's going to be a total of 50 points. They need to be labeled properly. So sketch number 1, sketch number 2. Sketches can be anything. Okay, if you're a photographer, you can take pictures, print them out, paste them in your sketchbook. I'm fine with that. As long as they're labeled, I'm okay with that. If you like to write poetry, if you like collages, if you want to paint, if you want to use marker, sketches or whatever, that is your own personal growth. That is your own personal exploration of things that you like. So while you're going through drawing class, you're going to be doing projects to my standards, but you may want to do something that is more about you specifically. That's where the sketchbook comes in. Okay, now assignments, those are those other weekly assignments that you see. I'm not grading those until the end of the semester, so all this is due at the end of the semester. And those will be labeled. So assignment number 1, assignment number 2, assignment number 3, all the way to 20. The sketchbook can jumble around. I realize that nobody's going to do things completely in sequence. That's totally up to you. Sometimes things are on loose leaf pieces of paper, or that's fine. Just as long as it can kind of be slid and stuck in there, and if it needs a name on it, that's fine. You know, I've received like portfolios at the end of the semester from students before of a jumble pick. That's, you know, that's okay as long as it's contained in some manner, and labeled. Right, that's what I'm asking you to do. So 30 sketches labeled, 20 assignments labeled, for a total of 50. Okay. There's the percentage breakdown of how things go. Grading scale, let you just go through there. Attendance, participation, that's going to vary depending if it's online or in person. But if you are in person, you know, I expect you to be there. I know things with COVID though have changed, so we will discuss that at a later time. And as you can see, it just kind of, this continues to go on for all the school is asking you to understand as we get into a new level of education. So that's sort of a breakdown of the syllabi. I'm going to jump over to some projects though, and we can talk about those. Okay, along with the syllabi, if you're in class, you've received all this in a packet together. If you're getting this off Moodle, you should be able to still see each individual assignment or project sheet. So a project sheet's going to look like this. It's going to give you the title. It's going to give you the due date, which will match, which is on the syllabus. It gives us the concept, so really what we're focusing on with the project that we're trying to see, and then the process or directions of how that's going to go. These directions will always be accompanied by a demo and a talk, so I'm not expecting you just to read this exactly and then go through it. I'll give you even more explanation. My objectives, and there's pretty standard throughout the whole semesters, I'm looking for things that are clean, meaning that you really took time and consideration when dealing with your paper, dealing with how you approach the process. There's not a bunch of marks, there's no tears, there's not erase marks, there's not pencil marks all over it. You know, you took care of the drawing, you showed that you were serious about it. Accurate representation usually means, you know, did you represent really what you're going for, what the project is asking you to go for. I do focus on realism in this, in most of my projects, just because if we can learn to draw the hardest things, then you're going to have a great time just sort of having fun drawing anything and everything, right? So I'm going to give you some of the basic techniques, how to draw, quote unquote, the hard stuff. So things like glass, things like natural objects, and the face. There is one project we will do that will allow for levels of abstraction to come in. So if you are that type of artist, don't worry, I kind of play to that a little bit. But I want to see accurate representation. Okay. Completeness. Did you finish it? Is the thing fully thought out? Sometimes people can put time into it, but they really still didn't go dark enough in areas. So there's going to be a level of completeness I'm looking at. And then the composition. Does it work for our eyes? When we look at it, are our eyes moving around? Are they stuck in one spot? So those are the main objectives that we're going to focus on this entire semester with that. That's the front part of the sheet. Now the back side is for you to write down your thoughts. Sometimes you may not feel like sharing in class, but that's okay. You can write them here in these question banks. There's even sort of an open-ended question towards the end, and these questions will vary from project to project, but I do expect you, if we're in class or we do have like sort of an online critique, to give your verbal opinion about what's going on, or what you're seeing, and then also have it in writing. Okay, if you feel like you don't want to share it, or maybe you're just maybe you're pretty down in the pits and don't really want to talk, well then do more writing. Okay, I take participation seriously because this is how I know if you are understanding the information I'm giving you. This is how I can really help you out in the next projects. So you're going to see this for each sheet, or for each project. I need this sheet turned in order to grade. I do not grade a project unless I have one of these with it. Okay, and not handwritten on a piece of scratch paper or something like that. Get this sheet, fill it out, get it to me. That's how I grade them. So if there's any more questions for that, just go ahead and email me.